Hey there, BookTube. Noah. Welcome to Everyone Who Reads It Must Converse. I'm very excited. So, we know, and we've known for a while, that Dune is getting rebooted again. The Dune series. And just, if you've never read it, that should be enough for you to know that you're looking at a masterpiece here. Okay? David Lynch, one of the most awesome movie makers ever, did the first Dune movie. It's great. It's not perfect, but it's good. As far as an adaptation is concerned. Dune is going to be a tough one to do, but I think that now there's just so much more capabilities, so much more tech we have to really do it justice. So, Villeneuve is the director that is doing the new Dune series, and I'm definitely excited. He did beast stuff like Arrival. It's a great movie, a great sci-fi. Arrival, and then also Enemy. If anybody's ever seen Enemy with Jake Gyllenhaal, it's an adaptation of a short story by Jose Saramago, maybe a novella. Not so short of a story. But Jose Saramago is a master. Great stuff. So I'm going to go through the Dune series. Now, that means I'm going to go through the whole Dune story, the proper Dune story. Okay? Now that means Dune Messiah, that's the second book in Dune. Children of Dune. I love these old paperbacks. They're some of my favorite. The Ace Science Fiction edition paperbacks. God Emperor of Dune. Heretics of Dune. And Chapter House Dune. Those are Frank Herbert's 6 that he wrote before he passed away. Now, the books were left on a bit of a cliffhanger, and how devastating would it have been to be just in it and reading them as they came out, kind of stuff. The first Dune book was written in the 60s, and then Frank Herbert dies, and yeah, well, that's it. We're not ever going to get the finished product. And of course we can't ever get the finished product exactly how he would envision it. Frank Herbert is a master writer. Philosophical sci-fi is what he does. And he's a great storyteller. Every book that I've said there of Frank Herbert's, masterfully written. So good. Definitely even if you're not a sci-fi fan, I would urge you to go for it, because there's not any aliens in the Dune universe. Humans are the only intelligent beings that we come in contact with. Although it could be argued, I guess, that soon the sandworms become intelligent or something like that. But after a while, and these were already written when I came in contact with the Dune series. Frank Herbert's son and a prolific writer named Kevin J. Anderson that writes science fiction teamed up, and they decided they were going to finish Frank Herbert's story, and they were going to do it right. And Frank Herbert was nothing if not meticulous. Outlines, ideas, writings. He had a whole trove of writings and outlines and all this kind of stuff for his novel. So I don't doubt that they're trying their best. But I love it. I love the ending. I love how they finished it. I think it's just fine. Is the writing on par with Frank Herbert? No. No way. And I'm not going to get into the controversy, because they've definitely kind of cashed in on the Dune series. But they did what they did. They finished it up. So all you really need from Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson is the prequel trilogy here, the Butlerian Jihad, Machine Crusade, and the Battle of Corrin. This takes place hundreds of years before the first Dune book happens. Hundreds of years before this. And it gives the story of the humans being subjugated under AI, under computer AI control. Among others, not just AI control, but the humans race went through a very long time of complete subjugation. But it's an amazing little trilogy. I definitely recommend it. And then they wrote 2 books to finish up the series: Hunters of Dune and Sandworms of Dune. Those are the 2, and that's all you need. And then that's the whole Dune proper, the whole story of the Dune proper, and that's all I advocate. But in here, I'm going to go through, maybe, I don't know how many videos it'll take, but I'm going to go through the Dune series, all those that I just said, and I'm not going to give great spoilers away, but what I'm going to do is give you enough so that hopefully you get hooked and read it. And I might not go through to the end because I'm not a spoiler kind of guy at all. But I will advocate and give you enough to where I hope that you at least read the first book, because Villeneuve's new movie is going to be half the book. And then another movie set to be the second half here. And I hope that, they continue on with the story, because it's an amazing thing. So, what's this thing about? For the noob, somebody who doesn't watch sci-fi, what's this thing about? Well, Dune is about power struggles. Dune is about the power structure of the universe and the different players that are involved in that power structure, and it all centers around a planet named Arrakis. Arrakis is Dune, and Arrakis is where giant sandworms live and run the entire planet. And as a waste product, they give off the spice. The spice is a drug to human beings that expands your mind. It gives a bit of psychic abilities, gives different types of abilities depending on in which form or in how much it is taken, and it gives longevity, a longer life. And so the elites, all the elite families want a healthy spice store, in their possession. And, spice is necessary for things like the intergalaxy travel that humans can do now. Only by the help of the spice are the certain beings that are the pilots of these ships, navigators, able to make these kind of jumps. That's it. So the spice is something that is worth more than its weight in money or gold or anything else. So at the beginning of Dune, you meet the Atreides as a ruling family, one of the elite families, and you meet the Harkonnen family, and you meet a number of other powerful people, and you meet a Bene Gesserit Reverend Mother. Now, Bene Gesserits are a group of females that run a matriarchal society. Everybody who's kind of an elite in this, they run their own planets. They have their own planets that they kind of run. And the Harkonnens are notoriously, running prison planets where they, basically, you know, kind of keep their populations um, docile and working and making their money and they just live, very pampered, well-off life on the backs of their society. And there's many different ways to run a planet. And the Atreides are more of a a worthy kind of family, as you can see at the beginning, but not without their faults for sure. And the Bene Gesserits are a matriarchal society that the females a long time ago, before the start of Dune, had become had kind of evolved in a way where they can regulate their own menstrual cycle, regulate their own bodies. They can control their minds to a very kind of psychic degree. They've evolved a little bit further than the rest of the human race, and they have now honed that, and through the use of the spice, the Reverend Mothers can take a huge dose of spice and unlock they become what is called a Reverend Mother. And when they become a Reverend Mother, they unlock all their ancestral memory. They unlock all the memories of all their ancestors. And as you can imagine, they become they have so much wisdom and so much behind them that they're at least advisors to every major family in the universe. They are major players. Well, the Reverend Mothers have a breeding program that they've been running for thousands of years. Now, I don't know if this is going to be changed in the movie, because this was written in 1965. In 1965, we didn't know about genetics the way that we do now. This was written at a time when what did Frank Herbert think? Well, you get two people together and have a baby, and to control that, to kind of come into a certain outcome, you have to control who the parents are. So that's what they do. Lady Jessica is Paul Atreides' mother, and Duke Leto is Paul Atreides' father, and they have been brought together very much on purpose to wed and to have a child and to have a son. And that son is going to be the first of his kind. A Kwisatz Haderach is what it's called. And what is that? Well, as it turns out, the Bene Gesserits really don't even know. They don't know exactly what a Kwisatz Haderach is. But they do know that it's possible, and they have a program in place to foster this. And Paul Atreides, our main character, is that child. So, like I say, it's a book about power struggles, but also it's a book about philosophy. The Bene Gesserits are very much into mind science, and they're very much into controlling their mind. So, fear is the mind killer. It's something that Bene Gesserits use as a mantra. You do not fear anything. It's good advice. It's definitely good advice. So, when it comes down to the first book, it's about Paul, and Paul is just a child, and so, but he's a very special one, and very 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 smart. So, they become Atreides family becomes able to run Dune. They're the ones that are given dominion over Dune, Arrakis. And this is a planet that, is the most sought after planet in the universe. It's the only place that spice is found. And so his father, Duke Leto, is promptly murdered. As you well know, in these power struggles, given something very worthy is a double-edged sword. So he's promptly murdered, and his mother, who's pregnant with his baby sister, not born yet, his mother and him have to flee into the desert of Arrakis in order to escape the other family, the other people that have taken over, instead of allowing the Atreides to have dominion over Dune. They meet in the desert of a band of people that live very modestly. Imagine a desert that's a whole planet wide. There's hardly any water at all. Just the town is the only place that is habitable. But there is some humans, resilient human beings that live in the desert called the Freemen. And they are spice infused. These people live with the worms, and they live with the spice. So they are those that just know what's up. And they take Jessica and Paul in, and this is another example of the power structure, a power struggle. Now, the Bene Gesserits have a program that they've ran on multiple planets, on maybe all planets. And it's a plan of prophecy. They set a prophecy in place that predicts at some, undisclosed time, the coming of a Reverend Mother to those people. And of course, Lady Jessica, Paul's mother, is a Reverend Mother, for sure. She's ancestral memory is broke open. She's wise beyond what anything we could understand. And so, when she shows up with Paul, her son, they see a prophecy being fulfilled. They worship, not only worship the sandworms, the source of the spice and all that, but they come to worship Jessica and Paul, because they are fulfilling this kind of prophecy that has, been kind of put into their, consciousness very subtly, just with stories, for who knows how long, hundreds, maybe 1,000 years, by these Bene Gesserits. So, when it comes down to it, Paul is getting, earlier than they expected, and in an uncontrolled way, a large dose of spice. Everybody in the desert there lives in the spice. Spice is everywhere. It's in the air. It's in the ground. It's in everything. It's if they it's they eat it all the time, because it's just part of everything there. And so this being that the Bene Gesserits wanted to create and then kind of control or use in some kind of way, becomes completely left to his own devices. Amazing stuff. So I'm going to leave that one there. And because I'm not trying to do spoilers, guys. I hope that I've given you enough to try to start on Dune, because Dune is an amazing work. And it's amazing stuff. So I'm not going to give away any of the plot, any more of the plot than I already have, which is definitely not much. I mean, like, this is amazing stuff. If you just read it, you know what I mean. It's definitely not too much, but I would like to move on and just touch a little bit of why you should go on to the next. Dune Messiah. So Dune Messiah, like I just said, Paul, who now is a fully awakened Kwisatz Haderach, is a Messiah, a god to the people of Dune. By this time in the story, a jihad, a holy war, has been unleashed in the universe that has cost billions and billions and billions of human lives. And it's Paul's fault. But the alternative is much worse, you know. When the Kwisatz Haderach awakes, he can see his future. He can see all his possible futures. So, when faced with all of his possible futures, Paul has a decision to make. And so he embraced the lesser, the least, horrible for mankind of his possible futures. Sorry about that. So, Paul lives in the desert. Paul runs Dune, Arrakis, from the desert, and he is the blind prophet. Now, blind only physically, but in his mind's eye can see everything. Not just everything, but everybody. Anything that he's going to do or come in contact with, he can see it. So when he's in a room with people, he knows what's going on. He can see it in his head, even though he's blind. And his younger sister, who was born in the first book, is also a Reverend Mother. Was a Reverend Mother before birth, even became a Reverend Mother because of living in the desert of Arrakis. Broke open her ancestral memory before she was born. So even as a child, has all the memories and personalities of all her ancestors. So these kind of beings are amazing to explore and to go through. And of course, there's a lot of a lot more of the power struggle in this book, but this book finishes up Paul's life. So to get the story of Paul Atreides, just Paul Atreides, you need the first two books. Now Paul takes a wife in Dune, on Arrakis, a freeman wife. Her name's Chani, and Paul has two children. One boy, one girl. And that's where we're going to kind of pick up next. But I just wanted to first go through and just let y'all know, when it comes down to it, it takes at least two to really get Paul's life, Paul Atreides. And so we'll pick up with the next one on the next books of Frank Herbert. Hopefully y'all are inspired a little bit. I'm super excited about the new movie. It's going to be really fun. And I hope that they do a really good job with it now, with all the new tech that we have. And what I've seen, even just like the posters and stuff, look really cool. So I have no doubt it's going to be visually stunning. I just hope that even if they don't stay true to some of the book, because like I said, with the birthing thing and not knowing genetics of the way that we know now, might be a little bit dated, for sure. But if they change something for that reason, and otherwise, keep it going, along with the books, then they're going to be able to touch on and do it justice. So thanks for watching, guys. Happy reading. See you later, BookTube. Bye.